What is a no injunctive relief clause in an independent film contract? It's basically a clause that prevents a person who's involved in your production from getting an injunction or an order by the court that prevents the production company from releasing the film. Why would you want to put this kind of clause in your contract? On the surface, it seems a little bit weird. So why would the director or actor or producer in the film want to get an order from a court stopping the movie that they made from coming out? It's rare that people will actually do this kind of thing. It's rare that they'll, blatantly try to ruin their own production. And truth be told, it's rare that a court is actually going to enter this kind of order because of how destructive it can be. But a greedy person who is involved in your film production can still try to use the threat of an injunction as leverage. So, for instance, if it looks like your indie film is going to be profitable, if it looks like it's going to be the next Blair Witch Project or something like that, a greedy person who was involved in the film might threaten you with the prospect of going to court and getting an injunction to try to get you to pay the money. In other words, they'll say, I think that the first assistant camera work that I did on this film was actually worth a few $1,000 more than what you paid me. And I think you should pay me that now if you don't want me going to court and raising the risk that a judge is going to enter an injunction stopping you from putting this out. So basically, nice film. It would be a shame if anything happened to it. Now, why would this person be able to sue in the first place? Well, there's a bunch of different possible reasons. Maybe an actor or a crew member might claim that they weren't paid according to whatever formula was agreed to in their contract. Maybe an actor might claim that their contract gives them the right to approve some of the footage and they didn't get the opportunity to do that. A creative lawyer can always come up with some reason to file a lawsuit. Whether or not in the long term that lawsuit's going to pan out, whether it has any merit is a different question. But they can always sue, and they can always, at least for a little while, make your life difficult. Making sure that you prevent this kind of thing from happening is also very important if you want to get distribution for your film, which is something that you are most likely doing if you have an independent feature that you're making. Distributors very much want to minimize the risk that someone who is involved with the film is going to file a lawsuit against the distributor or against the production company. And so they'll often explicitly require in their contracts with the production company that everyone involved in the film have a contract with this kind of no injunctive relief clause. So to prevent an injunction, an order saying that you can't release the film, or the threat of an injunction from being a problem, you need to make sure you have a contract with everyone who's worked on the film. And you do need a contract with everyone who's worked on the film, even if it's your mother. Hopefully you've done that. You need to put this kind of clause in all their contracts. Now, let's go look at an example of this kind of clause. Okay, so what are the important parts of this clause here? As you can see, we've got this first part saying the rights and remedies of crew member in the event of any breach by company of this agreement or any of company's obligations hereunder shall be limited to crew member's right to recover damages. What does damages mean? Damages means money. So if the crew member sues the production company, the best case scenario for them is that they'll be able to get money, but they won't be able to get an injunction. In other words, an order saying that the film can't come out. And that's the important part. Now, could you conceivably write a contract saying that the crew member can't get damages either, that your first assistant camera or your editor or whoever it might be can't get money either? You could write it like that, but courts are reluctant to enforce any kind of clause that says that a party to a contract can't get any relief at all in the event of a breach of contract. So the better option, the smarter option, is to use this no injunctive relief clause, which says although they can get money, they can't get an order that's going to essentially shut down the entire production. Second, you'll see that this clause talks about any right to rescind the agreement. Rescission is a remedy that someone can seek in court that basically makes it as if a contract never existed. You don't want the crew member to be able to do this, because if they're able to cancel the contract, then they'll get rid of all these other handy-dandy clauses that hopefully you've included in the contract to protect you. And I discussed this in my video series on this channel, such as a work for hire clause, saying that you, the production company, own any copyright associated with the film, and that the editor or the first assistant camera or something like that can't come back and say that they own a copyright in the film. You wouldn't want rescission to happen. You wouldn't want the crew member to be able to rescind the contract, because then they could get rid of that type of work for hire clause. Finally, you've got in this clause, we see the mention of injunctive or other equitable relief. This language just specifically calls out an injunction and says the crew member can't get one. So I hope that this discussion was helpful In case you don't know me, I'm not only a lawyer, but I'm also an independent filmmaker, and I'm making these videos to help independent creators who might not necessarily have a massive budget that allows them to hire lawyers at the rate of hundreds of dollars an hour. And they also don't want to go and Google and find random contracts and download them from the internet when, who knows who drafted them and who knows what purpose they were drafted for. So those are the people that I want to help. As always, this isn't legal advice, because if I were going to try to give you legal advice, I would need to understand your specific circumstances and your needs. But hopefully this is useful as a matter of general information. Thanks for watching.